Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Nip and a Half Fantasy Football Podcast and Fantasy Football Hub as we go into, as we look ahead to Gameweek 35, nearing the end of the season now, Paul. How are you and how was your fantasy weekend?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Fergi. Fantasy weekend was okay. Good Telegraph, not so good Dream Team. Um, Seems like everyone had a good weekend in FPL, so it's
If you
hard
free
to
hit, if you free hit.
if you free hit, yeah. Which I did, but still, considering the score, I'm sure I went down in one of my leagues and
Oh, wow.
got like a pretty decent score on it. So yeah, that was uh, good weekend. I am intrigued now about you made a comment about Telegraph going live on air, and I don't know if you want to go there first or hold me in suspense and go there last.
Let's go there last. Let's talk. Let's hold you into suspense. It's not massively exciting, to be fair, but I did let spill to Paul just as literally as the credits were rolling at the start, that I used nearly all my Telegraph transfers over the weekend. Not to great benefit either, but yeah, let's touch on that towards the end to keep everyone hooked, hopefully. FPL free hit. How did you do it? See, it just felt like every single player in the sort of 18 or 20 man pool that was available, they all did something, or nearly all of them. It was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, apart from Raul Jimenez, I think it's maybe the only one
And
that
maybe
blank.
Palmer,
Well,
maybe Palmer.
Palmer got 3 points. Yeah, but I still managed to find a couple other blankers in there as well.
Good
I,
work.
I didn't see Van Dijk in any free hit team, so I thought I'd
Yeah.
take a punt on him, knowing how bad Spurs are at defending set pieces. And I had Leno on goals. I was so close to picking Sanchez. And I used the hub points prediction, and Leno was predicted to score point one more, and I was like, oh, I'll go on that basis, which yeah, very frustrating. But 8 to 9 points overall. I'm all out now, so I don't have like a Mbeumo playing or Wood. So I had Leno on goals, Van Dijk mentioned there. I did have eight Nori, which everyone had, but I had Trippier, and I know that some people had picked Liverpool over him, so I was pretty happy with that. Midfield, Palmer, I picked Murphy over Barnes, so 3 points up on that. Diaz, Salah captain, Cunha, Isak again, who everyone had, and then I had Strand Larson as well. So he only got 6 points, but I was pretty happy with that outcome. The other players I'd contemplate. I was never going to pick Sessegnon, I don't think. Um, I may have picked Kluivert. He only scored 2 points. I may have picked Jimenez, who only scored 1 point. So I can't be too harsh on myself based on the players that scored. So yeah, 8 to 9 points.
89's it's hell of a haul, mate. I know it feels like amongst the engaged managers we haven't moved, but the whole strategy of wildcard and I know you played assistant manager for 31 33, as whether I played a mixture of triple captain and a very, very unsuccessful bench boost. But I think the whole strategy from 30 to 34 has played out reasonably as expected, I think, and it was the right move. It's very I don't think I've ever seen a free hit, like such a successful free hit. If you didn't free hit this week, I think you'd have found it really hard to come within 20 or 30 points with hits. And also, if you're taking hits, you're also taking players out who very likely are going to have really good fixtures in
Yep.
35 and 36 as well. So, yeah, I did exactly the same. I scored 89. I went for Livramento. Disappointingly, maybe I wasn't as clued up on Trippier as everyone else. He seemed to be quite, everyone seems to be quite hot on him. I hadn't seen too much from him in the last few weeks. Maybe I've missed the boat there, really. And I went for Raul, but I'm really, really grateful. I did do a 5 minute to 11 change from Leno to Jose Sa,
So
because I quickly scanned my team one final time and realized I hadn't used a third Wolves spot. And that was, I was like, because I was going to go for Strand Larson, and I was tempted maybe by Manetzi, but that was never going to happen, really. And then Semedo was someone else, and I was M&R in. But I really wasn't happy with Leno. And I even talked on Green Arrow last week that I thought that the Fulham game wasn't a slam dunk at all against Southampton away. So I went for Raul, but I was happy Obviously happy with Sa. Very, very fortunate actually. But yeah, same amount of points, 89. I didn't even realise really that looking ahead to next week now, anyone who did that whole sort of wild card and play the doubles, I think have probably got at least 8 home players for next week, and Man City, Palace, Arsenal players that as well. So lined up nicely for 35 and 36, no matter how the doubles sort of land, I think. So
I'm gonna have to. I've got bench boosts left.
oh, you have, haven't you?
I think I'm just gonna bench boost this week. Like, I don't have a great bench or anything like that, but I think the longer you go on, the likelihood that player rotation comes in and such like. So I've got Evan Nielsen in my team as well. I'm thinking of just doing him to Visser and then bench boost him.
I think the fixtures are good this week. I'm looking at my 15. I've got a very, very template team, and 12 of them are at home. And the ones that are away are Isak, Murphy, and Salah. I mean, 3 cracking assets. So, just do it. That's not a bad, assuming our teams are similar, which they are-ish. I know you're probably a Palace player lighter than me, maybe because you had Glasner, but yeah, looks good. Good stuff. 200 odd K now, I think, in FPL, 214K. Nothing to shout about, but I think the 100K maybe in sight. Just need a couple of good game weeks now, and hope that all the people who have messed around with their teams are not going to be as strong for 35 and 36. But we will see how it goes. Dream Team. I know you sent me a big expletive.
I sent you a message, and I could sense that you thought I was whinging, and then just gave me like the most diplomatic response back.
I didn't think you were whinging. I was just like, when I looked, I was just like, oh wow, and then I looked at their players, and I could almost guess what had happened. But yeah, do you want to roll us through?
Well, I've got a similar team to you, so I imagine that there's not much difference between us. I think I've got the same team as you, apart from I had Isak and Konza to your Saliba and Marmoush, I think, is maybe.
Yeah.
And we've got the same team apart from that, I think.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So I'm on 43 points, which means that you're on like 39 or 40. I've not looked.
40 I'm on, yeah.
And then, but you've got Saliba to play on me. So yeah. I guess we're both hoping for Rice to do well, considering he's the one differential that it feels that both of us have got. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm not expecting too much against PSG. And so Fernandes got stripped of a point overnight as well. He had 5 ppm, so they've taken that off. So yeah, pretty lackluster week, in which I thought everybody's team was kind of converging to a template, and then I see some monster scores doubling where I've got, and I've doubled my rank down to 94th overall as well. But I've had a good season. I'm not overly complaining. So I'll give you an update on Telegraph after this. But there's a correlation between why one game went well and one game didn't.
I can guess. Well. Oh, you make me ill. I can guess what's happening.
So what I would say is in the Dream Team, this week's transfers are tricky for me. I'm really not sure what I'm going to do, and I'm kind of grateful for the Friday deadline because you're coming on my stag do this weekend, and therefore I don't need to mess about with the phone making plans on Saturday morning.
God. But the big move this week was those who punted on Cunha. I say punted, he was a great option this week, wasn't he? Did he get 22 points in one game? That is absolutely crazy. We know how good he is, and the only reason I didn't really is because it was a 1 week sort of move, right? Which I just don't play. It's not it's not part of my strategy really, but it was a fabulous move and well played to everyone who went with it. It seems like he was really popular actually, and a lot of our rivals sort of had him, didn't they? And I think your WTF moment came when you saw that. I think you were on like 12 points, I was on 3, and a few of our rivals were on like 56, 59 points. Like, what the hell's happened here? But yeah, well played. It's they kind of jumped ahead, but yeah, I again, I think his style of play, and I always go for fixture volume, always. So I just look at it now and think, had their points. I've now got a 3-for-1 over them. If they stick with Cunha, for example, or someone of that ilk, this one game player, and and while I don't expect him to match those points, at least I know I'm going to, well, I'm very likely to claw back, especially seeing that the Wolves are away to Man City on the weekend. Cunha, he could do well on the weekend, but I would guess those who brought him in may be taking him out again. I'm guessing potentially, but as a 1 week punt, absolute jackpot, well played. Can't argue at all with that. So
Those that went Cucurella done well as well. Right? I'm thinking of players that were popular.
And he's going to play Thursday as well, isn't
he?
He's definitely that was a better. I think he was next in line for my transfers, because I had two sort of hygiene transfers I had to make this week, but he would be next in line for me. But yeah, we got 4 Arsenal playing. I know they've got PSG. Not expecting a whole lot, but like I say, the beauty of Dream Team over games like FPL and Telegraph is you do get points for non sort of direct goal actions, which is good. So you can always get the odd points from somewhere. But yeah, I slipped down from I think 32nd to 57th or something. So it's not a great start to the week, but yeah, I'm still firmly in the there was a great debate last week on Dream Team Tonic around whether you target single game players or stick with the doublers, and I've always gone with the doublers. And I know they don't all play all the doubles, but I use Rashford as an example. Stuck with Rashford, had him out this week, but while he hasn't smashed it over the last few weeks, he got like 12 last week, he got 15 the week before, because he gets the 2 games, and Villa players especially were coming on and scoring off the bench stuff as well. So I'm happy to stick with it. But yeah, can't argue at all with the Cunha move, especially, and the Cucurella move was really good as well. So yeah, hoping. So I've still got what we got this week now. We've got 4 Arsenal players, United captain, and potentially a Spurs player in Palm. So I've still got 8 to play. Excuse me, 8 to play this week, and I will almost certainly be looking at bringing in doublers, rightly or wrongly. Almost certainly looking to bringing in doublers next week. But again, we get to see the outcomes of the first legs this weekend, so it should, well, it will give us some indicators and clues, don't it? On who will likely progress and who won't. Yep. But yeah, that's Dream Team. And so what? Sorry, what are your planned moves for next weekend in Dream Team?
Well, I don't have double Arsenal defence, so I might bring in Saliba, which is like I'm obviously one move behind you in there. I might take out Salah as well, considering it. Next 2 fixtures are Chelsea and Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I am considering taking Salah out as well. Kivior, maybe they've got triple Arsenal defence then, 4-5-1, gives me flexibility in moves the following week. Potential. I'd thought about Watkins as well, home to Fulham, but Villa's got some okay fixtures. I'm really not sure on that second move what I'm going to do. I think with Crystal Palace, in fact, I wouldn't have taken Munoz out this week anyway, but with Palace having the cup final, they're going to have a double in a couple of weeks' time as well. So could I get ahead of the curve and do a Palace move there? Not sure, maybe.
So Haaland back in training as well, which should be interesting, both for Haaland and Marmoush, because City have got a hell of a run, haven't they? Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Fulham, and a cup final as well. So that could be interesting, actually.
Yeah.
To see how that plays out.
Could do Guardiola as well, I guess.
Guardiola, I thought that hurt yesterday. Oh, and that's a nice segue on the Telegraph, because I haven't got him in Dream Team or Telegraph, and when something I fully expected Forest to score yesterday, so I wasn't scared of Guardiola at all. But the fact that they kept the clean sheet, but the goal as well, it was like a double blow. Like you must have these things. You have these gut punch moments at the end of the season, which you know is just
Well,
going to kill you in all
you've got
form.
You've got Marmoush and Dream Team though. So the two players combined for like the two high-owned players
Yeah.
combined for the goal that I didn't own either of them.
Have you got him in Telegraph?
But I brought in
Yeah, and
Guardiola yesterday.
I'm sure you did. Yeah, yeah. So let's.
I did lose out. I did lose out on my last minute clean sheet with Kerkez conceding in Telegraph, and then I moved Kerkez on to Guardiola, so made up for it.
Well done, mate. Let's just say a quick hello before we move on to Telegraph. Windy is in cloudy sky, fancy football. He said, is anyone else surprised with all the effort the FA has put into the season, making their cup the centre of weekend entertainment? They managed to schedule a semi-final opposite the league winning title match. I didn't even realise until the Sunday when I was sort of planning my day that they had the games on at the same time. It was it was dreadful, wasn't it? What one did you watch, Paula? Did you watch either?
I was at my mum's for tea, and she's only got terrestrial TV, so I watched the FA Cup game.
Yeah, same. I watched the FA Cup game, but yeah, as a Spurs fan, I wasn't sort of massively keen on watching the Spurs Liverpool match anyway. But it's always nice to see a team win the league. But yeah, the schedule was horrendous. Dave Hannigan is in. Steve Ricks says he put Chris Wood in Dream Team for a massive 2 points. He does play again though on Thursday. Steve, Tim WD is in, and Ray is in as well. Says TFF time, and it is indeed TFF times. It sounds like you had a good one, Paul, and you brought in Gvardiol. Did you bring in either Nori or Cunha as well?
No, but that was my three. That was my
three tips for the week.
3 tips for the week was Cunha, Nori, and Gvardiol. Was a
good move.
Tips for the week. So, no, I got 78 points for the week, which feels like a really good week, and I went up in my overall position. But what was weird when I looked at the leagues that I'm in, everyone near the top of leagues had like massive scores. So I guess maybe it just shows the concentration of engaged managers playing leagues that are high up rather than those that were perhaps at the top of the overall game. Maybe it's that whole, preserving transfers element, and you can get that inflated position in the overall leaderboard. But in most of the leagues where people are sometimes playing for cash and such like that, you maybe get some more kind of astute managers in terms of how they hold the transfers back, etc.
Feels like the population, from what I can see, of leagues this year. It feels like the standard has improved. I feel just based on previous years. Normally, like I'm still using transfers now, which even a few years ago, everyone's out of transfers by sort of March, right? And they just sort of hang, sort of hang on the coattails. But it just feels like at the moment I'm almost out of transfers now, and I made some moves on the weekend, made some moves last weekend, and I'm just barely moving. It just feels like I don't know if it's a one-off season or whether just the standard has improved. But tough season this year, tough year. Do you agree, or do you think I'm just looking at it through my own lens?
I think it is. I think there was some missed opportunities, perhaps. The Newcastle pile-on like 3 weeks ago. I think if it done it on the Monday night, and I know they didn't have the good result against Aston Villa, but the 3 results from that point in time onwards, I think, resulted in 3 clean sheets, and it wasn't like the defenders are picking up 7 points either. Like Schär scored in that period. Trippier's getting assists. Livramento sure got an assist in that period of time as well.
And a penalty save for Pope as well.
Yeah. So you add in all of this, and if you'd went and done like a blanket 4 transfer move across those pieces. And then over the 4 games that they played in that's like 150 points.
Incredible. And they're the exact opportunities we talk about earlier in the season when people are talking about 2-for-1s to gain an extra 5 or 7 points. They're just not worth it, right? But I do think I'm sure we'll do an end of season review, but I'm really keen. I really want to do some analysis on my team this season because may have missed out on the obvious sort of pylons, maybe the Forest defence, maybe Newcastle defence earlier in the season, bits and pieces. But I'm still not exactly sure kind of where I've sort of massively gone wrong. It'd be good to have a think this year. Cause definitely my worst season in a long time. 840th now in my one team. I'm about 300th in another team, but on the main team, which I share.
Yeah.
840th with one transfer left. It's just dreadful. I'd be amazed if I managed to stay in the top 1K. I don't think it's going to happen. So,
How are you set up after the moves and
okay, I've got one transfer left, so I used 3 transfers yesterday. I took out Pope, Livramento, and I brought in Kiwior last week for 2 fixtures. He did well actually. He got a clean sheet in one and a goal in the other. But I moved on those 3. I had 4 transfers left, and I was just thinking, I need to do something. I need to lay my bed. I need to, whatever kind of phrase I'm looking for. I suppose it's lay my bed, but draw my line in the sand, put my stick in the beach, whatever I need to do.
All the eggs in one basket.
Go, right, this is me. This is my move. Because if I just keep making the same moves as everyone else, or like the rest of the season, it doesn't matter how they do.
This is interesting me more. You've got me on tender hooks here. What's
Well, I just went all in, I suppose, on not quite all in, but I went all in-ish on a defensive team that lost their clean sheet after 1.5 minutes, which hurts. So so I brought in Sells, Milenkovic, and Murillo. Forest have got a lot of fixtures anyway. They've still got even
5.
Yeah,
and they've got good fixtures.
Exactly that, and that was it. It wasn't just based on the fact that they get to the final, but it was the fact that they've got good fixtures anyway. They're a solid defense. If they got to the final, it was a bonus. So yeah, at the moment, my team reads Sells, Milenkovic, Murillo, Gehi and Munoz, obviously in the finals. I'll be leaving those in. Bruno, Gibbs, White, who honestly yesterday, he hit the bar, hit the post. He hasn't done anything for weeks, and I was just like, when all the fantasy gods just kind of pummel you all at once. I can't complain because in FPL I had the SAR penalty save and whatever else, but it just felt, lose the clean sheet, and then my sort of low-owned attacker in Gibbs White, because if he had scored, it would have definitely shot me up the ranks. Yeah. Did nothing. I've still got Palmer, goodness me, and then Salah, Isak, and Marmoush. So I'm laid in bed now with a 4-3-3 with 4 Forest players who have got the joint, the joint most fixtures. I've just kept. I nearly made the 4th transfer yesterday. I nearly took out. Well, I nearly did another move. I'm quite thankful actually that it didn't work out, because I was going to take out Palmer, but you can't do 5-2-3 in Telegraph. I was going to put in another defender or a forward or something, but as luck would have it, in the end, it didn't. It didn't work out. So
a lot of folks come off for us, so I don't mind the tactic. And as you say, yeah, it's not great after yesterday, and you only get 1 point each. But then, where you could have made the moves midweek, and you're still getting 5 fixtures from them till the end of the season anyway. So
yeah, even though they lost yesterday, I got 5 points from the 3 transfers. I wouldn't have got. I could have gone for Gvardiol. I still might at some point. I've got got the 1 transfer left, but I know I'm going to have some sort of injury or something. If Haaland returns, I think I've got enough to do Maoist at the Haaland or something. So it's all.
I think there's one saving grace for us, like Sam, very few transfers as well, and. When seasons gone by, when the FA Cup game comes after the last game of the season,
yes, you're right,
and you find that someone's loaded with 11 players in the team,
right?
Even though the 3-for-1s and we might miss out on that, but it just doesn't seem as obvious now for those holding transfers back and that play. Now, I'm not saying Crystal Palace play this Monday night, and I think that's a good hop-on point for Palace. I still think Forest, those that haven't went there yet, still a good hop-on point against Brentford prior to that as well. So there is still gains that will get made against us by making those moves then, but it's not going to feel as well. One, I don't think it's as obvious, so people won't go and do it. But holding those transfers back for that FA Cup game, so it doesn't feel like we're going to get penalised in the last day of the season.
No, once it's done, isn't it? Once the end of the season is done, everyone's going to have the same players on that day. So you're going to know roughly before the kickoff, where like we'll end up. There'll be no one with 2 or 3 more transfers for an extra fixture or something. So yeah, I think one thing I'd like to raise with you, Paul, is earlier in the season you said that you thought that with the lesser amount of FA Cup replays and double game weeks fixture rearrangements, that you thought that it would be quite difficult to find opportunities, or maybe as many opportunities as we have in previous seasons. I don't think it's panned out like that. I think there are still, like, even now, if you've got lots of transfers left now, I still think there's quite a lot of I think there has been opportunities, a lot of opportunity if you held your transfers back, especially on Newcastle, as you say. And I know it's easy in hindsight, but there's been so many 4-for-1s and things. I still think just ahead of next year, I still think there has been and will be lots of opportunity to jump on and get massive holes later on.
Is that an open question, or
It's I would, yeah, I
do
would
I
like
still stand by?
your.
Do I still stand by my
Well,
statement, or
no,
do I
it's
retract?
more that you stated something which it kind of made sense. Can't remember. I feel I disagreed at the time, but I'd like to know how you think that has played out.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say I'm somewhere in between. I still maintain that I don't think the opportunity is as rich this season than what has been in previous seasons. Um, and specifically as we're seeing kind of a lot of rotation for other competitions now when teams have got less to play for. So like you see it with Saka as prime example. I know a lot of people jumped on Saka last week, and I imagine a lot of people was trying to get off Saka again because I can't see him playing against, or I could be wrong, can't see him playing against Bournemouth next weekend. Personally, like sandwiched between the two PSG games, particularly if they're still in the game after the first leg,
Yeah.
which I would suspect that they will be as well. So I don't see it as much opportunity, especially when we don't foresee games getting rearranged and pulled into other game weeks as well. I know that
Yeah.
there's talk on X Twitter just now about whether or not there will be double game weeks. I think the view is that it's unlikely that there will be. I'm thinking FPL
Yeah.
double
Yeah.
game
Of
weeks,
course.
but that's the way that you would intertwine the fixtures to get 3-for-1s on Telegraph. So yeah, maybe in the middle. But like the Newcastle one was the one that I highlighted earlier, and you've mentioned it again there just now. But I can't think of too many of those that have worked out this season. Whereas
You're
usually,
right.
usually what usually what happens is we come at the end and think you can list maybe five
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities like that.
I would say, though, you are right, exactly what you said. But I also said last week, if you remember, that I think they're having opportunities, but it
Haven't played
hasn't
out.
played out in terms of getting that, that 3-0 or that 4-0, which really catapults you through, having a run of two, like when Newcastle won, was it 3-0 then 5-0, or or wherever it was. I do think there has been opportunities like that have become available, and people, including myself, have jumped on them, but I don't feel they've played out. I don't think we've had the results needed and the outcomes needed to fully take advantage.
But,
So
but is that the same as in previous years where we can think of the five successes of 15 opportunities where we're saying that there's
yeah,
one success of
maybe.
five? And I could be wrong because we're not listing them, but it feels like when I was using them throughout the season, my transfers, other than when I did that test, if you like, on the FA Cup, which I won't be following again next season. Um, just rotating big hitters against the poor teams,
Yeah.
which did not work out well at all. I maybe blew like 2 or 3 transfers on it. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't. I'm not. I'm always of a similar opinion to you, is that I would never get bored of using transfers at the end of the season and find good
Yeah,
opportunities
yeah.
to use them, and when things present themselves. I just think there's perhaps been less of those opportunities, and seen by the outcomes of the positive outcomes from that we've seen at the end. But I could stand corrected because I've not listed all the opportunities this season and from previous seasons as well.
I'm really looking forward to our sort of end of season review. I think very very brief overview of the three games. I think FPL. I don't feel like for once. I think I've actually played well this season in terms of I haven't made any massive obvious errors. Um, and I think my rank probably reflects my play. Maybe you can always look at points where you've been lucky and points where you've been unlucky. And as more than most, being a fantasy winner, you know when you have a good season, just how much those 50-50s all go for you, not only in terms of the players you've got, but also in terms of the players your opponent has got not performing at the same time, how that kind of happens. I think on Dream Team probably played well. I played to my strategy. There was one moment where I took Isak out. I still remember it now. I took Isak out
It's
against
Southampton.
less. Oh yes, Southampton, which I'm still kind of on the fence about. But on Telegraph, I'm really keen to do some analysis because I'm not massively sure where I went wrong. I didn't have Palmer in the first half of the season, and he was smashing it, wasn't he? And there was a couple of maybe, like I say, was I not quick enough to get on Forest? I'm a sort of non-believer if a team haven't done it historically. I mean, I got battered in the Leicester season, for example, because I would not bring Mahrez or Vardy in. No matter, I was like, they'll never keep it up, they'll never keep scoring, they can't score every week, and they just did. So maybe I just need to, change
Well,
my
in,
thinking
in,
around there.
in in Telegraph in particular, there was a formula, but you and Luke Wilson and Carl always mentioned
Yeah,
it, and it was true because you look at the best value players, and uh, whilst using up all of your budget till you've got, because I don't like that concept of get the best budget players and you end up with 20 million left in the bank. That's not how it works because you put Haaland in knowing that the guaranteed stream of points rather than the value of the player. But the formation that always came out was always either 5-4-1 or 5-3-2, right? Because and it was a big hit in defenders
exactly.
because over the course of a season, your Man Cities or your Arsenals would keep 15 to 20 clean sheets, and that was the way it always operated. I'm not saying that we hung on to big hitting defenders too much this season at all. But the game has changed in terms of the value stakes from Telegraph perspective. I'd say the same as you. I didn't get on Forest defenders quick enough as well, probably, and I imagine like that. Dan had a fantastic start to the season. I think he had double Forest and double Palace at the back, and kicked on from there.
How is the ultimate leaderboard looking, mate? I haven't actually looked.
You've jumped up a little bit from our
Really?
last update. Yeah,
Well, I'm
and
happy
you're
with that.
not that far behind me when you consider
Really?
the average mini league rank. So Martin Burke's in 10th. We've got Ian Parent in ninth. You're currently sitting eighth with an average mini league rank of 14.7.
Okay.
Then Ollie Poole's in seventh.
Well done,
I
Ollie.
know he had a fantastic week in FPL after putting a tweet out that was moaning about something, and then
Yeah, he's got
I think
like over
Session
over 100
scored.
points or something, isn't he?
Albeit yesterday he had 1% battery and went to transfer Guardiola and his phone died. So so maybe not so lucky, Ollie. Dale Pointer in sixth. I am currently fifth with an average mini league rank of 12.7. So only two separating us
Really?
in
Wow.
terms of the average mini league rank. So it is not all over.
Hmm.
Darren Malloy's in fourth, Gavin Shirley in third, Tom Gledel in second, and Johnny Curry out in first. Johnny, Tom, and Gavin all have single figure ranks in each of the three
Incredible.
game formats. So super impressive from each of the three of those.
Well played, gentlemen. So I'm only two behind you. I know it says only two. It's quite a lot in terms of looking at where it could change. You've got your bench boost over me still, so your FPL rank would probably say, even say one place. You may climb up a spot there, or maybe two. TFF, it feels like I'm sort of all in now, so I can't see me unless Forest go on a run of 3 clean sheets in the last 5.
Out of interest, how many City and Palace players do you have? Like I'm thinking of
Two,
like fixed.
I've only got 2 Palace and Marmoush. That's all.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
So I guess I negate your two Forest players by having an additional Palace and an additional City as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in
So
terms of fixture vote.
I'm hoping for Wolves and for Palace and City to concede and Forest to keep a couple of clean sheets. I haven't managed to move from like 23rd. I've stuck between like 19th and 23rd for like the last month or so. Like I say, the standard is so high. I've been using a lot of transfers as well. I can't move. So yeah. And in Dream Team, I noticed you were right up behind me. I climbed away from you last week. I think I had ended up with something of a 25 or 30 point lead, but now the lead's cut to like 14. But I've got a player over you, Saliba. But if you have to bring Saliba next week, maybe I've got the advantage of an extra transfer. But I want to stay ahead of you, and I just want something to shout about at the end of the season. And if it's beating you in, well, actually, I'm beating you in 2 of the 3 games. It's just in Telegraph. You're giving me an absolute spanking. So I need one of those Forest games where a Milenkovic assist from a Rillo header and all that sort of jazz to have any chance. But it's looking unlikely. And it's funny actually because I was thinking about this. Where you're sat in 5th. I'm guessing, especially because you've got sort of limited transfer, it's going to be very hard for you to push on into the 4th and 3rd.
Oh yeah, I've not got any aspirations.
Yeah.
Telegraph
whereas maybe I've got more of a chance of climbing, I suppose, only in terms of it's not as congested where I am as where you are. If someone's in 16th and 17th, but they're done for transfers and they get a few injuries, I've got an odd chance of climbing 1 or 2 places. Yeah. But it's interesting, mega interesting, and what a league it's so tough, and I absolutely love it. I mean, it's the absolute creme de la creme, right, of fantasy managers, and it's really great to be up amongst these names. And I think I can't remember where I finished last year, maybe 11. I might have finished 11th last year, so if I can stay in the top 10 this year, I'd be absolutely over the moon, because it's so difficult. Hopefully everyone is enjoying it. Are we done for this week, mate?
We are, and we should try and do something next week, but time's going to be concerning because it won't be on a Monday night.
Should we do like a Facebook Live from some nightclub in Tenerife? That would be quite good. Maybe not. Do you know what? I just said it as well. I just said where we're going, and it's been a secret, haven't it, all this time? But thankfully, you found out a bit earlier today, so I didn't just spoil this. Can you imagine if I had just spoiled the surprise? Tenerife, where no one is welcoming British tourists. The first
shot I'd be doing, I think you'd be joining me. Right?
Indeed. Okay, mate. Thanks to everyone for joining us. FPL Sparta joined us late towards the end as well. Thanks for everyone who joined us. Best luck for the weekend. We might try and do something midweek next week. But yeah, best of luck, everyone, and speak to you all soon.